Now I'm live. There we go. Huh. I thought it would just auto start for me at the time I scheduled the stream for. Guess not. Okay. Well, welcome back. Uh, Today I'm gonna hopefully do a quick video here on using the JavaScript API for ArcGIS in a Node Express app. Right. I've previously shown you how you can use the JavaScript API for quick load node scripts and stuff to do everything. And there's absolutely nothing stopping you from doing the same stuff inside of a Express application. That way you can build like these quick little APIs to do things. And I'm doing this because I'm actually working on something else I want to talk about hopefully next week once I get it working, that I need a quick, very simple APIs to communicate with, right? Things like is this a point inside a feature, or give me information about a feature that this point intersects with, things like that. I'm working on these little scripts for something else. So I kind of just figured I would show how I'm going about doing that stuff, right? So here I've got my simple Express app. Okay, so I'm not going to teach you how to use Express or anything. If you you can go and look that up. But I've got my basics here. So I'm going to get everything, so I can grab all the query parameters in here for any GET requests. It's just a quick and dirty way of doing that. I'm going to be sending in a lat and a lon in the request URL as my parameters, converting those to numbers. I think I need to convert them to numbers to use in the API. I don't know, but I'm going to go ahead and play it safe there. In a second here, it's warm in here. Okay, I don't think that's going to bother you. You probably can't hear my fan. You probably heard the beep. Probably didn't hear the fan. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I have this method. It's probably a bad name for this method, is in features. I'm passing it a point and getting a result back. And basically that result is going to have some attribute in it, right? So I give you, I pass a point to the URL parameter, and I expect it to go hit a service and then pass back some attribute information from that service. Very lightweight stuff, right? I'm not trying to rewrite a feature service here. I just am trying to have very simple APIs that can do these kinds of little things for me. So the service I'm using is this old service of the tessellated tiles I had done back in 2019 here. So I was gonna say years ago, but that was only like 2 years ago, roughly. Feels like a decade at this point, right? So yeah, it's just some tiles. This has some information on here. What's going on here? Where did I go to data? Where's my data? Oh, here we go. Data. And it's got some. It only has like two fields. It has an object ID field and I think like a global ID. And I'm probably not logged in. Oh no, here we go. Grid ID. Right. So it's got a grid ID field and object ID field. So really, I'm interested in grabbing this grid ID to use from API. So I'll send a lat lon, and that the simple API will send back the grid ID that lat lon intersects with. All right, so okay, let's get started writing this thing. So writing the basic logic of what it's supposed to do, right? So I have this query JS file, because I'm using ESM. So we're gonna do things a little different here. So what I could do is I could create a feature layer from this URL. Since it does point to a feature service layer endpoint here, and I can query the feature layer. That would work just fine. I'm going to show you something a little different though, something you can do starting in 4.19, and that is that we have these methods here now under ESRI REST, right? These are basically going to be the new home for everything you can do with ESRI task. Just instead of having to create, for example, a query task instance, create a new query task, pass URL, and you have all these different methods available under the query task. All of these methods are now available separately for you to use inside the API under ESRI REST, right? So that's where things are going to end up moving at some point. So there is an ESRI REST query, because I can't even talk. So I have not been feeling that great this week, so I'm just a little beat. But okay, so the ESRI REST has some methods on here for attachment query, get the count, and there's actually two methods you could use in the API to query features. One of those is execute query JSON, The other is execute query PBF, right? So they've been separated out so that if you are interested, you could go ahead and look at the PBF spec that we have on GitHub under the ESRI org. Just search PBF and you'll find it. So if you do want to parse the PBF for whatever reason, you can do that. And we have had a couple of users already doing that. For this one, I'm just going to use execute query JSON because honestly, I'm just not smart enough to deal with parsing PBF data, regardless if you give me a spec and a parser to do it. I still don't know what I'm doing. So, okay, let's go and bring that in. Let's go and import from ArcGIS core, REST, query. There we go. I have to do .js. That's right. Now from here, this should just pick it up. I can do execute query JSON. Bam. Okay, there we go. So I need some options in here, and I don't need to actually create a new query. This will get autocast for me under the hood. So I can actually just create a query object. So const query is equal to an object. And what am I passing as my point here? I can't remember what I did. I'm already creating the latitude, longitude based on the lat long here. So I don't need to parse this any further. It's kind of nice, and this is just one of those things, if you're writing, I don't know, it's probably got a name when you're writing code of doing stuff like this, is that this function should not have to worry about converting some funky data to what it expects to get, right? It should just expect to get one thing because it only should do one thing. Other things should be passing that to it. I don't know. It's one of those things I've got from reading all those damn programming books years ago that I've forgotten everything about, right? So, okay, so to do the query, I do not want to return geometry. So return geometry false, right? Let's assume I don't know what fields I want back, right? Just assume. Like I said, I can come over here. I can say I want grid ID back, but we're just going to go ahead and assume that I don't know. I'm just a helpless user, so I'm going to get me all the fields. I wouldn't recommend this if you can anticipate your layer might have like 100 fields or hundreds of fields, which are definitely out there. You want to minimize that traffic, but in my case, I know there's only 2 fields. I'll send all the fields back, object ID and grid ID all together. All right, so okay, so there's my out fields. Geometry, that's important. So geometry is going to be the point. Bam, okay. At this point, let's go ahead and start this service. We got listing on 3000. So right now I'm not returning a result yet. So let's do this. Let's just return yo, right? Okay, so let's come over here, start it. Yo, okay, that way I know it's doing something. Okay, just, yeah. Okay, let's do this now. So const results are going to be equal to await, and here we go. Execute query JSON, and I'm going to pass it my service URL, and pass it the query. I should probably wrap this in the try catch, but you know what? YOLO, right? So console.log results. And actually, this isn't going to tell me anything because in my console here, that's just going to come up, I believe, as like object. I forget. I'm not even passing that longs here, right? So invalid property needs one of the blah, blah, blah point. Oh, okay. My bad. So I need to tell it here. Type is point. As you can see, I have not really tested this beforehand, right? I kind of wrote the skeleton of this, going, this will work, but I didn't I haven't written this yet. So okay, let's say lat. Now, if I can remember what's what, lat is equal to 34, and lon will be equal to negative 118. I happen to know that that is like Hacienda Heights area. Because I stick with that. No, 118. 118. What am I doing? Yeah, I always stick with those coordinates in like all my samples. You'll see it everywhere I do things, just because, yeah, I know that coordinate for whatever reason. Okay, so no, I'm not getting errors, which is good. So let's come over here. So console.log results again. It's just empty results, but I do know this is going to return back features. So the execute query JSON returns a feature set. And I know that feature set is going to have, come on, help me out here, people. Features, which is going to be an array of graphics, right? And I mean, they're graphics. They may not have geometries or symbols on them, but they're graphics. You could feed them to a feature layer to do some cool stuff. So, okay, so we'll grab features in here. Let's go ahead and do a... I keep forgetting I'm working in Node, so I gotta do this kind of stuff. Stringify if I want to see in the console. Right, you probably shouldn't be doing this in the console, but I don't care. And there we go. Bam, my object ID is in here. No pop-up template, no symbol, no geometry. Perfect, just what I want. So now I can go ahead and say that const result is going to be equal to, I'll grab the first one. Again, I'm making an assumption I got a result here. Okay, let's do this. If features.length, if not features.length, then let's just return empty object. All right. So if I have results, then const feature is going to be equal to features 0. Just grab the first one. Did I spell that right? I feel like I didn't spell that right. No, I spelled that right. I'm tired. Sorry. At this point now, I'm going to go ahead and return feature dot attributes. Hey, look at that. IntelliSense is smart, man. It knew I want attributes. Does it know this is a graphic? It knows it's a graphic. Look at that. TypeScript. I'm not even writing TypeScript, and it's already amazing. All right, okay, let's do this. And there we go. Super simple. And I'm getting this back in the browser here because in my Express app here, I'm just doing my JSON. I'm getting the result here. Fine. I forget what it is I'm supposed to be doing here. So, okay, that's it. That is pretty much it. That is how I'm using this. And like I said, I could create a feature layer with that feature service URL. I could query the feature layer inside this Node app. It would be fine. It would still work. I'm just kind of trying to minimize what I'm bringing in and using. Although, you know what, this is Node, and who cares how big your files are in Node? I don't think it really matters. It's running in a server environment, and it's not the browser. You could have a 10 megabyte JavaScript files, and no one's going to care. Right? No one minimizes their Node code. Right? I don't think anybody do that. I was always told don't bother. Right. So, okay. I mean, that's fairly simple, easy enough to do. Like I said, the only reason I started working on these things is I want these very simple little scripts to do some other work, to do some things later on. These are going to be my like external APIs for some other treat that I'm working on. That I'll share with you all next week, I hope, once I get it working. I've had some trouble getting this stuff working because it's kind of new to me. But yeah, this is cool. I like this. The fact that I can just return this. And again, I don't need to do outfield star, which probably is not a smart idea. So if I do it this way and return it, I don't even think I'll get the object ID. Yeah, so I just get the grid ID. When I tell it I only want that one field. So now there's less traffic going to my service. I'm sending less traffic out of my external service, so wherever this might get hosted, like Amazon, Google Cloud, wherever you want to do, whatever your jam is, you know, you're just kind of saving that network traffic. All right, so hey, this actually was pretty fast. I didn't break anything too bad, but I also kind of cheated because I had the skeleton part of my Express app already written from trying some other stuff earlier. But there you go. If you've got questions about this, feel free to ask. Let me know. You can hit me up on Twitter. You can hit me up on YouTube. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll get some more of these live videos out. Thanks a lot.